So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys the potential mock trade that would land Damian Lillard on the Miami Heat this offseason. And teams like the Miami Heat are intensely monitoring Damian Lillard's situation in Portland. And if Damian Lillard actually decides to request a trade this offseason, the Miami Heat certainly have a ton of young players that are promising in the future, as well as their first round picks. But before we get into the video, if you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new, and also hit that notification bell button not to miss out on more awesome NBA content like this. But now with that all out of the way, let's get into the video. So with the recent news that came out that said that Damian Lillard really wanted Jason Kidd to be his next head coach, that has then ultimately failed since Jason Kidd's response was that he was not going to take that opportunity. And of course, with their first round loss to the Denver Nuggets in the 2021 NBA playoffs, Damian Lillard was really frustrated with the team and how it underperformed, especially given that they lost on their home court and to a team that was missing their second best player in Jamal Murray. And one of the main reasons for Damian Lillard to request a trade out of Portland would basically be if he really wants to win a championship in his career. Because it doesn't look like it's possible right now in Portland, since they definitely do not have the right roster set around him. And yes, they could try to trade for players like Karl-Anthony Towns or Kristaps Porzingis, or even Miles Turner, but in my opinion, that would not even make them championship type of contenders. But if Damian Lillard wants to be extremely loyal to the franchise that drafted him, he might just decide to stay on the team. But the Portland Trailblazers might not even be able to trade for a superstar player like Karl-Anthony Towns, mainly because of their lack of significant young talent, as well as their first round picks, which aren't really too valuable for any team because the Portland Trailblazers are still going to be a playoff contender at the minimum, which is definitely a factor to why Damian Lillard could request a trade out of Portland given their lack of ability to trade for other players. And if Damian Lillard actually decides to request a trade out of Portland, a team like the Miami Heat will definitely be prepared to offer a significantly good package and intriguing package to a team like the Trailblazers. And now with that all being said, let's get into the package that would send Damian Lillard to the Miami Heat and would pair him up with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. So in this blockbuster mock trade, the Miami Heat would receive Damian Lillard and Robert Covington, as the Portland Trailblazers would receive Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Precious Achiuwa, and 2 future first-round picks. So first, let's talk about the Miami Heat side of this trade. So with this trade, the Miami Heat would of course make a big three of Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo that would be a very significant title contender in the NBA. And it would definitely challenge a team like the Brooklyn Nets or the Los Angeles Lakers. And in this trade, the Miami Heat also get Robert Covington, which is a very good 3-and-D type of player, as he's averaged over a steal and a block per game this season while shooting almost 38% from 3-point range. But they literally get rid of almost half of their team with players like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Goran Dragic, and Precious Achiuwa involved in this trade. So with that being said, I don't even know if the Miami Heat would be willing to part ways with all of these players. But again, this trade is for Damian Lillard, so he could definitely cost them a few championships. And Lillard would definitely be the first option on offense for the Miami Heat. And of course, the Miami Heat have a great and proven coach in Erik Spoelstra, so Damian Lillard should not worry about the coaching staff. And the Miami Heat could have a future starting 5 in Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, Robert Covington, and Bam Adebayo. And in my opinion, I feel like the Miami Heat with that type of roster would definitely have enough of a good team to compete with the Brooklyn Nets and even potentially win them for a championship. And if this does not work with a Damian Lillard to the Miami Heat trade, the Heat fans could definitely still be excited for the offseason because players like Kawhi Leonard or DeMar DeRozan could decide to join this team. But now let's talk about the Blazers side of this trade. So for the Portland Trailblazers, they of course would not want to do this trade at the beginning because Damian Lillard is definitely untouchable right now for their team. But if and only if Damian Lillard decides to request a trade to a team like the Miami Heat, then the Portland Trailblazers would definitely grant his wish. But in terms of valuable future assets that they're getting off of this trade, it's definitely one of the best trade offers that they can actually get from a team for a player like Damian Lillard. Because in this trade, the Portland Trailblazers would get 5 players, and 4 of those players being very promising young players. And they also get 2 future first-round picks to rebuild their team. So this would be the route that the Portland Trailblazers would take if they want to get more assets. But if the Portland Trailblazers want an all-star type of young player, then a player like Ben Simmons could fit their needs. But in this trade, the main players that they get is Tyler Hero, Precious Achiuwa, Kendrick Nunn, and Duncan Robinson. And this past season, Tyler Hero has averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, and about 4 assists per game, as Duncan Robinson averaged 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists while shooting 41% from three-point range and 83% from the free throw line. And the rookie Precious Achiuwa averaged 5 points, 4 rebounds while shooting 55% from the field and backing up Bam Adebayo. And Kendrick Nunn averaged 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists and 1 steal per game, while shooting 38% from three-point range, 49% from the field, and 93% from the free throw line. So overall, if the Portland Trailblazers would decide to go into full rebuild mode by trading away Damian Lillard if he requests a trade, then this trade would definitely make the most sense out of any other trade in my opinion, since the Trailblazers get a ton of promising young players and assets in the future for a 31-year-old Damian Lillard and a 30-year-old Robert Covington. But with that all being said, let me know in the comments down below which team do you think would win this trade in the future? And do you believe that the Miami Heat could win a championship with a big 3 of Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo? And also comment down below which team do you think would be the best fit for Damian Lillard if he were to request a trade? I believe it will be one of these 3 teams. 1 being the Miami Heat, 2 being the Los Angeles Lakers, and 3 being the Boston Celtics. And some honorable mentions would go to teams like the Los Angeles Clippers and the Golden State Warriors and even the New York Knicks. But I feel like those teams could be more limited in trading players away for a player like Damian Lillard, since a team like the Boston Celtics would need to trade a player away like Jaylen Brown if they were to be able to land Damian Lillard. But they could even decide to actually pull that off because they would actually have a big 2 of Jason Tatum and Damian Lillard. And they might even need to trade away Kemba Walker since he is a negative asset to a team, but it still matches the salaries. And for Portland, a team consisting of Kemba Walker, CJ McCollum, and Jaylen Brown would definitely be a very intriguing team in the NBA. And with that all out of the way, if you guys haven't already, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new. It was KNYT here and I'm out. Peace.